Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today I want to talk to y'all about the big lie that writing grifters tell. So what exactly does this mean? It means that people are just so into get-rich-quick schemes these days. People want to skip the hard parts of things, and there are so many grifters out there that are ready and willing to scam people. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, the big lie that hopeful writers are being sold is that being a professional author will get you rich and will get you rich fast. And both of those things are a lie. I talk about that in my video about how most writers don't make a living at their writing, let alone being rich. And it is not a fast process. Writing is one of the slowest art forms that you can possibly be a part of. So if you are a person who is impatient, who doesn't like to do hard things, and who needs instant gratification, writing is not for you. I'm not trying to be mean or throw shade. These are just facts, okay? Writing is hard, writing is slow, writing will not earn you oodles of money. So to begin with, writing is slow. Writing is a slow process at every phase of the process. The amount of time that it takes just to write a manuscript, meaning your first rough draft, takes a very long time. Everyone is different in how long it takes them. On average, for me, it takes anywhere from a year to 3 years for me to write the manuscript. That all depends on how much time do I have daily to work on it, as well as how inspired I am to be able to move the story forward. Is the page speaking to me or not? Is the question. So that's just step one, and that's already slow. We're talking about at minimum like a year to write a manuscript, okay? That's a long time. And then on top of it, the editing process can take anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on your process, depending on if you hire someone, all that jazz. It can take a long time. And then on top of that, if you want to go the traditional publishing route, the publishing industry is painfully slow. So we were taught when I was at Columbia that on average, it takes about a year to hear back from a publisher. You're lucky if you hear back before then. And a lot of times you won't hear back ever. And you just have to assume after a year that they have decided to not take your manuscript for whatever reason. So that's just a year waiting just to hear back from the publisher, yes or no, or even nothing. And after that year, a lot of times you'll get back what's called a partial acceptance. So what they'll say is hey, you know what? We really liked what you sent us, because here's the thing. They do not want you to send them all 300 pages of your manuscript. That is not step one. Step one is you send them what they ask for, which is a cover letter and either the first chapter or the first 10 pages or the first whatever that they tell you. Every publisher is different, but on average, it's about the first chapter, first 10 pages that they ask for. Year later, they ask for a partial. That means that they ask for anywhere from like the first 3 to 10 chapters or whatever. It's not even half of your manuscript. It's just they want to see more. And then you won't hear back for another anywhere from like 3 months to 6 months to even another year. And then if they don't reject you, or, you just never hear back, they'll ask you for your full manuscript. So then now is when you send them all 300 whatever pages of your manuscript. And then you wait another 3 months, 6 months, year, or never to hear back from them. And then at that point, if they say we like it, then they will publish your book. There is no step after that, back and forthness. It's either a yes or a no at that point. Then they'll send you a contract. And then you sign the contract, and then they go into either editor, where they will send you an editor, and then you have to work with their editor to then edit your manuscript again under their standards, or they will take it as is and then send it to the layout artist. So depending on if they go the editor route, that can take anywhere from another 3 months, 6 months to a year. And then the book layout artist, that takes another X amount of months for them to fiddle with all the layout to make it into a book. And then they send it off to the printer, and then it finally becomes a book. And in between that whole process is then when you have to work out the marketing for it with the publisher, where then they talk about when they're going to have pre-sales, when they're going to have the cover release, when the book is actually going to be released, talking about when you're going to have release parties, all that kind of stuff, all that planning, all that takes time. So the amount of time from you start writing to your book is actually published and a book on a bookshelf can be as much as like 5 years for one singular book. This is why I talk about in my other videos that it's very important to have the wheel of work, meaning you always are working on something in a different stage of the process because the process takes so long that while you're fiddling around with a publisher, you should be working on your next book. You should not wait until that book is done on that bookshelf to then start on your next book because that is going to be so much wasted time. So that is a long time to complete one piece. One thing, the amount of paintings that people can complete in that amount of time, the amount of dances that can be choreographed in that amount of time. Oh my God, the sheer amount of people that makeup artists can do makeup on in that amount of time is mind-blowing. All of that, you have to have so much patience and dedication to spend that much time on one singular project. If you're looking for an art form that's fast, writing is not it. And then the whole getting rich part of it. Writing's not going to get you rich. That whole Hollywood thing about, oh, writers are rich and they like live in a cabin in the woods far away from people and they just tippity-tap write all day and they're kooky and weird and don't have to be people because they don't have real jobs and they can just do whatever. I mean, that is every writer's dream. We absolutely all aspire to that because we are all kooky weirdos who would very much love to go live somewhere far away from people and not have to be normal people ever again. That would be awesome. However, that's not reality for 99% of us. The 1% are the authors that are household names, like Stephen King. Everybody knows who he is. And it's the same as like winning the lottery or like becoming a movie star. It's the same thing. Very few people get to that point. Most writers will publish so many books and they still have to have a day job in order to pay the bills. Or if they're lucky enough to have an understanding partner, their partner has a well-paying day job that pays the bills, and then they can be a goblin weirdo and write all day, but still somebody has to pay the bills at the end of the day. And 90% of the time, it ain't the writer. Like maybe you make enough money off your writing to pay one singular bill, and hooray for that. But the majority of the time, your writing is not going to pay 100% of your bills and help you buy a house and all of that. That is an expectation that should not be an expectation. If that happens for you, amazing, wonderful, fantastic. But it should not be, oh yeah, this is just what happens. No, it does not happen for everybody. It's unfortunate and it's just the way that things are. And we just have to work in the parameters that we have and just do our best. But the fact of the matter is between the costs of physically publishing paper books and the cost of publishing the books, so the paper, the cost of printing it, the cost of all the labor that goes into making it be a book and the binding and the blah, blah, blah and all that. And then if you're with a publisher, they take a cut. And if you have a literary agent, they take a cut. And then all of your marketing costs, by the time you get to you and the profit is itty bitty, seems tiny. And even if you go the ebook route or the Kindle Reads route, that slice of profit is still very teeny tiny. We get literal pennies on the dollar for each of our books. I believe if I remember correctly, the royalty for Kindle Reads is something like 60 cents or something. I don't quite remember. It's something like that, but it's very minuscule. Basically, to give y'all an idea, at present, I make about like $5 a month off of my Kindle Reads. Woo, big spender. And then the amount of profit that I make selling my paper books is minuscule. And then don't even get me started on selling my books in person at conventions. That would be a whole lot of red. That is a whole lot of negative expenses in my accounting books. I have a day job, which is why I'm very much like, oh no, I got laid off. I need to find another job to support all this, because being an author is expensive. Is the other thing, is all the marketing costs, all of the costs of doing conventions and events to sell your books, all of that is expensive. And even then, people will be like, well, then why do you do all these events and conventions and stuff if it costs more to do than you sell at the event? marketing and branding, because in order to reach your audience, you need to be in their face and be like, hello, I'm a real person. These are real books. Please buy them. Because a lot of the times it's not the sales you make at the convention. It's the sales you make online after the fact, is that people take your business card, look at your books, and then go, oh yeah, I like that book. I think I'll go buy it on Kindle Reads, or, I'll go buy it online. Or they do buy a book at the convention and then they're like, wow, I really enjoyed that book. I want to buy more books by this author. I'll buy them online. Unfortunately, it's this big organism that you have to support, all these different things that you have to do and have them all work together in order to honestly make any money as an author. It's a very complicated, in-depth, and very exhausting process. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort in order to literally make pennies. So you can imagine how silly it is that there are grifters out there telling people, oh yeah, you can get rich real quick writing books. All those professional authors are sitting over here like, really? This is news to me. Because unfortunately, it's just not true. It's just not. Writing is a slow process. Publishing is a slow process. Marketing is a grueling, daily, constant process that's never ending. And you don't make a lot of money doing it. And even if you do make a significant amount of money doing it, you either got really lucky, you got a really good publisher, or you have done all the behind the scenes work to finally get to that point. So this is why it is so frustrating to see all these grifters, and especially all the AI grifters, claiming that you can get rich quick in the publishing industry. Because y'all, I'm here to tell you, I'm sorry, it is just not true. I hope y'all found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.